Who's radicalizing these people? Why do they all seem to have connections with military bases or gun ranges that our intel agencies operate and use? Look at this. Here's the ISIS flag rolled up. Who rolled up the flag exactly? Who got rid of the evidence before people could take photos of this? Who rolled up that flag? Who's making that decision, ladies and gentlemen? Again, the perpetrator and the suspect is dead, but now they're saying that he didn't act alone. There were other people.
Benny Johnson sounds off against the FBI and how it seems like they keep lying about the New Year's Eve ISIS terror attacks. Let's see what Benny Johnson has to say.
And why didn't we stop this terrorist before they were able to kill Americans? Ladies and gentlemen, this should be some of the major questions of our federal law enforcement, like the FBI, who have spent the better part of the last 4 years hunting down innocent MAGA grandmothers who waved American flags during January 6th and putting their agents inside of Catholic masses in order to try and attack Christians and locking up grandmothers praying outside of abortion clinics. The FBI is a sick and rotted to the core organization, but their initial instinct after this attack, with dead Americans still laying in the street, is to lie to the American people. And it is totally and completely unforgivable. It's also unsustainable. And I'm going to detail for you some of the dark and very strange lies that the FBI told in the aftermath of the terrorist attack in New Orleans, ladies and gentlemen. Never forget that the terrorists slaughtered 15 Americans, and the FBI's initial immediate instinct was to lie about every single detail. Nothing they said was true. They did this to protect a dead ISIS terrorist's feelings. They did nothing to protect Americans. This is going viral right now, and for good reason. This is what we know so far, ladies and gentlemen. A ISIS terrorist named Shamoud Din Jabbar killed 15 people when a rented electric vehicle that had just recently entered the country from Mexico, rented on a vehicle rental system called Turo, mowed down people, revelers in New Year's Eve in Bourbon Street in New Orleans. 42-year-old man from Houston, Texas. He is an American citizen. He did work for the Defense Department. He was in the Army and worked at Deloitte, a defense contractor. So I think there are going to have to be some really tough questions about who knew what about this guy. Anyway, he had an ISIS flag.
If you enjoy content like this, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel. Let's continue.
On the back of his vehicle. Yet, even though the FBI called this an act of terrorism in their statement of release, the same time this statement was going out early this morning at 10 a.m., saying this was a terrorist attack, the FBI special agent in charge, okay, so this is literally the top FBI position inside of the New Orleans region, was saying it's not a terrorist attack, even though they had discovered IEDs and explosives on site, even though they had a literal ISIS flag on the back of the vehicle. That's an ISIS flag right there. That's an ISIS flag. These are IEDs. These are explosives. And the entire vehicle is packed with tactical gear and firearms. The vehicle's obviously been used as a weapon. This is the actual terrorist. Yet the initial commentary from the FBI was, this is not a terrorist attack. Listen to this.
Said we'll be taking over the investigative lead for this event. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if this is a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street, specifically from Canal Street to St. Anne. That is my ask. Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne until we can figure out what is going on.
It's so sad that because of the leftist and liberal agenda, I now can't see like this black woman with a nose ring. It's not even just because she's black, but it's because, you know, she's there when she's young. She has a nose ring and has this important position. I can't look at her now and go, I wonder if this was a DEI hire. You know, and it's sad. And that's the negative effects of DEI and affirmative action. That's the name of it. That's the negative effects that this does to like minorities.
This is the special agent in charge of the FBI. You might note that she has a nose ring. Okay, nothing has nose rings. I have employees who have nose rings, but those employees are creatives, artists, and videographers. They're not FBI agents in charge of millions and millions of people. It was like blatantly disrespectful and unprofessional. I'm sorry, I'll just say it. If you're in law enforcement, this is not the look that you should have. Is that having like a nose ring, like you're what, a roadie? Like what? Like what? You're like somebody who's going to church Coachella? It's like it's just like on prima facie unprofessional.
I mean, Benny Johnson is absolutely correct. It's as if this woman is cosplaying as an FBI agent, or she's dressing up like an FBI agent for Halloween or something. She comes into that room, you don't take her seriously. And not just because of the DEI stuff, but the nose ring. I know people are like, oh, what's the big deal about nose rings? And like, yeah, it's not like a big deal, but when you're the FBI agent and she walks in the door and you see that, you're not going to take her as seriously. You're going to look at her as kind of a joke. I mean, imagine if your doctor walked in and they had like a nose ring and stuff. You would be like, huh, that's a little weird. Like, can I take this person seriously? Does this person know what they're doing? I don't know. Sound off on the comment section. If you agree or disagree, let's continue.
Then let's go to the fact that this individual clearly can barely speak coherent English sentences. Said pacifically instead of specifically. And then they said that this isn't a terrorist attack. It's just an investigation into IEDs. Ladies and gentlemen, this attack happened on New Year's Eve. So this press conference is happening the morning after. They already knew that this was the individual because he was dead in the street. He's dead in the street right here. They knew that the truck had an ISIS flag on it. This is an ISIS flag, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is. They were aware of all of this, but they didn't tell the American people. Why? You need to ask the question, why? Now, I'm going to make a just wild guess here because I don't know this individual and I don't know the FBI field office there. But I'm going to make a wild guess that the reason why they didn't tell the American people this is an act of terrorism via ISIS, by an ISIS terrorist, homegrown in this country, they used a vehicle that just came from Mexico, is because they're trying to protect the dead terrorists' feelings, because they're trying to protect ISIS, because they're doing their level-headed best to protect the dead terrorists and not the American people. It's not politically correct to say that. It's not politically correct to say that the terrorist did a terrorist thing. The lies just continued throughout the day. Who rolled up the flag exactly? Somebody explain that. Who rolled up the ISIS flag? The FBI is now completely admitted, and this is crazy, man. This is the actual suspect. He's like doing a Deloitte, like working for a defense contractor. So you gotta start asking some really tough questions about our defense contractors and our CIA, our intel agencies, and homegrown terrorism. Still don't know anything about the Trump shooter. No, nothing. Literally nothing about Matthew Crooks. Nothing about him. He just was able to take 8 shots at President Trump, hit President Trump in the head, and we don't know anything about the guy. Nothing. Just classic homegrown terrorism. Really interesting. Who's radicalizing these people? Why do they all seem to have connections with military bases or gun ranges that our intel agencies operate and use? Look at this. Here's the ISIS flag rolled up. Who rolled up the flag exactly? Who got rid of the evidence before people could take photos of this? Who rolled up that flag? Who's making that decision, ladies and gentlemen? Again, the perpetrator and the suspect is dead, but now they're saying that he didn't act alone, and there were other people that were maybe in the cab doing this act of terrorism. It was actually the mayor of New Orleans, somebody named LaToya Cantrell, who first said this was a terrorist attack. The White House and the FBI and federal law enforcement refused to describe it as a terrorist attack.
I mean, Benny Johnson's absolutely correct. The FBI, I mean, there's a reason why people are in support of Donald Trump shutting it down. It's only useful when it wants to be. Like, it's only useful when it wants to be. Like, yeah, if it's about finding people that went on January 6th to the Capitol, oh, okay, well, yeah, they could find everyone that was there. You know, they could find out everybody who was there and arrest them all if they wanted to. But when it comes to like Thomas Crooks, yeah, we still don't know anything about him. That's so weird. You know, I remember when there was the gay nightclub shooting. I remember the dude who went and shot up the gay nightclub. He was actually reported to the like authorities. Like the guy who the shooter bought the guns off of, like, reported him, and they did nothing about it. It's so crazy. But the balls on them to just deny that this was any sort of terrorist attack. You know, the flag is rolled up. The FBI agent right there denied that it was a terrorist attack, saying, oh, it's just an investigation into explosives. Lying right to our faces. And they act like we're stupid. We're going to just be stupid and fall for it and be like, oh, okay. It's like, what? Like, we could see the flag right there. You know, the liberal agenda has gotten the world so backwards where we're more interested in protecting feelings than we are actually protecting facts that could protect the American people. Benny Johnson's absolutely correct. What do you guys think about this? Sound off in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy content like this. And if you do enjoy content like this, I got a whole bunch more goodies for you on the screen to click on and enjoy.